Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant or Ascendant for the month of December. I hope you will. I can scarce believe that we're in December already. Seems like simultaneously the longest and shortest year of my life. And it's the last full month reading, obviously, before the end of 2020, which is interesting. We've got Saturn going into Aquarius later on in December. That should be fairly monumental, I think. But let's have a look and see what December has in store for you specifically, Aquarius. I have 3 cards for Aquarius, please. There we are. The first card is the King of Wands. That's interesting. It's the card of Leo. It's the card of Leo in the minor arcana, rather, and there's been Leo energy kind of appearing at the fringes of your readings almost all year. Now, Leo is your opposite sign, so there is a bond there between the pair of you. Anyway, I'll not say any more about that. I'll get some more cards out. 2 more cards for Aquarius, please. Oh. We have the 2 of Cups in your current environment. Oh. And we've got some interesting cards here. The first card that came out was the 5 of Pentacles in reverse, and I pulled 2 more. I was actually just going for 1 more, and I don't really know why, because I only usually pick 1 card there. But we got the 5 of Swords in reverse and the 10 of Pentacles. That's interesting. I really like that. I have no idea why I went for 3 cards there either. We've got the Hermit at the bottom of the deck, followed by the Queen of Wands, interestingly enough, the 9 of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. Now we're going to come back to that. The Hermit is Virgo energy, but it talks about introspection. Right? The knowledge of the Hermit, that which it gives us, is the knowledge that all the answers to anything that we could possibly need to know the answer to are contained within ourselves. We don't need to look outside of ourselves at all for an answer to anything. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Just pick that up, and the Queen of Wands is at the bottom of there. Open this window again now, all that traffic's fogged. I swear, it's been so quiet here. Right up until the point where I open the window, and then all of a sudden there's traffic everywhere. So let's get some clarifiers. Tell me about this King of Wands for Aquarius, please. The first card is the Ace of Wands. I like that. 1 more card. And the 10. Interesting. It's interesting that it's come out that way around. Right. Tell me about the 2 of Cups, please, for Aquarius. 2 cards out together. We've got the Page of Cups and the 5 of Pentacles again. Interesting. And why is 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords and a 10 of Pentacles? Good Lord. Hovered out. Right, we've got the 3 of Wands and the Hanged Man. Shall we pull 1 more for luck? Because there are 3 cards there. Yeah, I think so. 1 more for coming to 1. Got the Queen of Cups. Interesting. We've got the 3 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, and there is a cooperative, there's a community cooperative kind of vibe about this reading already. I was feeling it as I was starting to pull the cards, which is why I was surprised that it was the 2 of Cups that came out rather than the 3, but we'll get into it. We'll see what it's all about. So, the first card is the King of Wands. Like I said, that's the card of Leo, and it's it could indicate a Leo around you, but I really don't think that it is, because quite often, well, certainly not in the main cards, we don't usually have other characters appear there, right? Usually it's somewhere in the clarifiers. As an energy, this is somebody who is fully present, for a start, a lot of drive, but somebody who is keen to do things in the here and now, right? Now, rather than with the Knight of Wands, whose attention is somewhat fleeting, goes where the fun is, and very much lives in the moment, but in a sort of non-committal way. The King of Wands is a much more mature energy. It's often about picking your battles, right? Knowing which things are worth your time turning up for, rather than just turning up for everything just because it's there. But it's interesting that we've had these 2 Wands cards come out underneath, right? Because this is all about how you live your life right now. Now, this is in the recent past, so it's been, you know, how you have been living your life recently. And there's something much more attentive to the present going on with you here than there has been. The two cards that clarify, like I said, are the Ace of Wands and the Ten of Wands. Now, we've leapt from the Alpha to the Omega here, right, the beginning to the end. And actually, within the Ace of Wands, you have the full potentiality of the Wands suit. So actually, that could contain the Ten of Wands. It also contains the King of Wands. Right? You have had this energy of making some sort of change in something around you. Now, I would have preferred to see these cards come out this way around, because the 10 is an end and the Ace is a beginning. But in fact, what we've got here is the full gamut from the beginning to the end. It's a cycle. And there's some sort of cycle in your present energy that I believe has come to an end by your own hand. It's almost like you had some sort of insight into what is a burden for you, or what it is that you don't want to carry forwards into another cycle. And it feels actually a little like you might have cut this off at the knees before it had a chance to grow. It was like your perception was that if this thing continued in the way that it was going, then it would inevitably end to it being a burden on you in some way. And so with a certain amount of foresight and prescience, what you've done is just kind of gone, no, I'm not going down that road. Let's pull another couple of cards, because I'm finding this quite interesting. Tell me about the Ace of Wands, please. Keep dropping them. We've got the Page of Cups, which came out in reverse, which is interesting because that's already on the table. Tell me about this Ace of Cups. And the Four of Swords in reverse as well. How very intriguing. We've got the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck. That is heartbreak. That is, you know, potentially these things together be very difficult energy. Very difficult energy. So it appears that with the Page of Cups in reverse, you have not given any space for this thing, this wand here, this growth, all that, to sprout up into something bigger that may become unmanageable later on. Now, the Four of Swords talks about taking a break. It talks about taking a step back from things, and I feel considering them logically from a certain perspective. If it comes out in reverse, and I have to say, I don't think I've had it come out in reverse for a long time, it feels like engaging with the situation rather than stepping back from it. It's almost like you know exactly what you have to do, and the one suit, because it is all very much in the moment, it's quite instinctive in some ways, right? This is not a situation that requires stepping back in deliberation from something. It's just like, no, I know the answer and do it now, right? I'm not going to put that, I'm not going to give it the space to grow, right? Not going to let it turn into this. It's very interesting. So then we come to your current energy, and we've got the Two of Cups. Now, I don't jump to automatically to romantic relationships with this card, because more often, well, it's equally likely to just be a friendship or a partnership or some sort of thing like that. You know, it speaks to me of intimacy in some regard. So it's two people coming together either through a shared worldview, shared value system, or shared goals, something like that, right? It's an alignment of energy with someone else in order to, you know, presumably to achieve something together, which is either more fulfilling or easier as a partnership, you know, than it would be by doing it by yourself. And in this respect, the Page of Cups is the right way up, right? It's almost like you've given your assent to this thing going forward. The other card that came out to clarify is the Five of Pentacles, another card that makes a multiple appearance here in your reading. That talks about poverty, it talks about lack. It could be pecuniary, as in, you know, financial, but it could be resources. And it can be the fear of a lack of resources as well. So given that this card has come up with the emotional cards of the Two of Cups and the Page of Cups, it feels like, does it feel preventative in some way? It kind of does, you know, like preventative and preemptive. Like, get on this train now, because you didn't want to be on that one. We've got this Three of Pentacles here at the bottom of the deck. That is that cooperation and collaboration card. And I said that was a feeling of you kind of putting out feelers or something for somebody who can assist you. I've just noticed that you are there at the bottom of the deck as the King of Swords. Let's have a look. Pull another couple of cards for this, because you're explaining the Page of Cups here. Well, the 3 cards all came out together there. 10 of Cups, King of Wands, and Judgment. Interesting. Now the 10 of Cups is a card of collective emotional fulfillment, right? So sometimes I can see that as being a relationship that is coming together and is going to be fruitful in the future for the pair of you. Or it can be a wider collective. We can talk about family in that regard, you know, your friendship groups, that sort of thing. But the fact that this King of Wands is here with the Judgment card, again, it's like this is your judgment. Right? You're making, not necessarily snap judgments about things, but actually pretty swift judgments about the here and now, what you want from the here and now. Don't forget that the whole one suit rules passion, right? But it also rules the present, what's immediately in front of you. Something that, as a sign, generally you're a little more detached from than usual. This looks like an engagement with the present, but for a purpose. Just as the energy that you're in at the moment, where you're coming together with someone else in some sort of alignment, also feels like a judgment that you're making in the present, because there's some aspect of it that avoids this here. Tell me about the 5 of Pentacles, please. 2 flew out together. We've got the 6 of Pentacles and the 10 of Wands. Mitigating the potential for burden in the future. Like, it's quite interesting. I came across a website a couple of days ago called Freedom Cells, which is all about like kind of community efforts to bring down kind of survival in some ways, but sort of just communal living, bringing it down to grassroots level. So within your little cell, you know, you have people who've got XYZ skills and they teach other people how to do the other one. And there's a feeling here of a similar sort of thing going on, right? The 5 of Pentacles is the fear of what could happen, right? And it feels like a fear rather than a reality in the moment. But this 6 of Pentacles, which is the next card on from the 7, feels like it's mitigating 7. My numbers all backwards from the 5. It's mitigating the possibility of this, which is something that you've already foreseen, right? So you've made this decision here in the recent past that this is what you're going to do. You're avoiding a particular situation and going after another, and you'll have to take this as it resonates to you, because it will be different for all of you. But there is absolutely the possibility of mitigating that which you were trying to avoid here very well by the decisions that you are making here in the present. This is really quite interesting, Aquarius. I hope this resonates with some of you, because, yeah, it was funny that Freedom Cells thing just popped into my head. That it feels like planning and concerted effort now, reaching out to the right people now. I've got the 3 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. The 3 of Wands is also here, right? This is about looking towards the future. It's about actually being. If the 2 of Wands is a crossroads energy, do I go this way or do I go this way? You know, and kind of thinking through the logistics of going in either direction. Then the 3 is when you pick your path and you take that first step upon it, right? Moving towards the future. Intriguing. In your future energy here for December, I love this now that we've seen the other cards, because we've got this 5 of Pentacles in reverse, we've got the 5 of Swords in reverse, and we've got the 10 of Pentacles. What are you up to, Aquarius? This is really intriguing. I'm going to put this 10 of Pentacles to one side for a second, because I want to concentrate on these two here, because they're both 5s, right? And 5 energy by its very nature is disruptive. It's designed to be. 4 is foundational. It's the creation of you know, something that is solid, that feels like home to you, that kind of thing. You know, so it's the familiar. It is your foundation. The 5 is the energy that comes along and blows that up. Seemingly, it feels at the time for no fucking reason other than it can, but it is important. It helps you refine and hone what it is that you're trying to create. And in doing so, it takes the bits of it away that maybe you've put effort into and actually weren't required moving forwards. Now, they are inherently unstable because they talk about a shift, they talk about a change of some description. And like I said before, with Pentacles, it's poverty, it's lack, or it's a fear of poverty and lack. So we'll just put that one to the side for a second, but then we've got the 5 of Swords. Now, everything that I just said about, you know, inherently destabilizing and all that kind of thing, uncomfortable change, hold true for the Swords. And it being the Sword suit, this is kind of a bit savage sometimes, this card. It can indicate a lot of things, but more often than not, I come down to this concept of it being of thought patterns, right? In my opinion, in my humble opinion, the most stabilizing thing that you can do to 5 energy is to flip it, to invert it. So where there is fear of, you know, lack, actual lack, whichever applies, flip it upside down, remove the fear, take that away. Where there are thought patterns that are not necessarily entirely logical, entirely straight, entirely useful, flip that upside down too. This indicates a big shift around you, Aquarius, of both your material and your intellectual spaces, which I find absolutely fascinating. And it feels like it's wrought by your hands, because I see all of this planning, this preparation here, that a lot of not just intellectual energy, but also physical action here. And it's combined with the 10 of Pentacles. And I just love this, because it's like this equals this. There's a certain amount of, like I said, commitment implied by this, but it is taking care of your needs. And the other thing that the 5 of Pentacles says to me is neglecting your basic needs. Well, that's absolutely not happening. There are a few things that perhaps you're changing your mind about, you know, or even changing the way that you think about them altogether. Maybe you're changing the way that you think about what it is that you actually require to keep yourself cared for and looked after and provided for. That's also possible. Either way, this is a fairly big shift, and it's one that seems, on the face of it at least, it seems like a very positive move. Oh God, I'm tripping over my words today. It's very, very odd. The 3 cards that I pulled to clarify were the 3 of Wands, the Hanged Man, and the Queen of Cups. And I found this a very intriguing set of cards. The 3 of Wands, I'm not even slightly surprised to see here, because, you know, he's looking towards the future, but he is taking action now for a future thing. This is not idle speculation on what the future may bring. This is changing behaviours in order to prepare for what is coming. But it's these 2 here that I find really, really fascinating, particularly because it's you, Aquarius, and there's been some work on the emotional space for you recently, and it's just got goosebumps. It's been showing its face very, very clearly in the last 2 or 3 readings that I've done for you, that there has been some emotional work that you've been doing on yourself, and for some reason what is now outside of you, those changes that you are seeking to I don't know, put in motion around you, are directly related to the shift that you've made in here. It's very odd. I'm trusting that you understand this, because I've had a lot of Aquarians kind of get on board and go, yes, we completely understand what this is about. But here are two cards that are of the water, right? And it's interesting, actually, that with the exception of the Five of Swords here, the Five of Swords is the only card that is utilising your element. It looks like you are moving outside of yourself, outside of your element, to, you know, gather up all the useful things that the other elements can do for you at the moment. And we're back to this notion about your emotional space and the shift in your emotional space. Perhaps the way that you've changed what, you know, maybe you've changed your idea of community, what community means to you. Right, what it is necessary to establish around you in order for you to flourish and others to flourish. We've got wands, we've got pentacles, we've got cups, we've got one card that speaks of swords, speaks about your intellectual energy, and it's speaking about you shifting your perception on stuff, changing the way that you think about things. The Hanged Man also talks about you changing your perspective and stuff. He is willingly throwing himself upside down so that he can see the world from a different perspective. In doing so, he gains enlightenment, he gains wisdom, right? He can see how to do things differently. And it's come up with this Queen of Cups, which is this open, receptive, emotional energy. I don't quite know what it is that you've been doing over the last, I would say, 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that. But there has been a fundamental shift in your emotional space, and it is now visibly operating in your consciousness. It is having a measurable effect in the way that you interact with the world around you, and in the way in which you are driven, to be fair. What it is that you're trying to achieve and why you're trying to achieve it. Tell me about this Hanged Man, please. What do you need to know about the Hanged Man? Nine of Pentacles. What you need to be independent and self-sufficient, secure, you know, for yourself. With 9 and 10, secure in yourself and secure for other people, and very much about your resources, what you need. Tell me about the Hanged Man. Thank you. 8 of Wands. There's a storm coming, Aquarius, and you know it. Not only do you know it, you're preparing for it. But the preparations that you're making are different to what you may have thought was important this time last year. This emotional shift in you has unlocked something, a new awareness of what it is that you need to focus on. And like I said, there's been a behavioural shift, or at least a goal shift as a result. Please tell me about the Queen of Cups. Shit, 2 cards together there. What do we have? Oh, we have the 8 of Swords and the 9 of Swords. Fascinating. With the Devil at the bottom of the deck. Right, the Devil deals with all those things that are toxic, right? We know that. It talks about abuse of any sort. It can talk about, you know, substance abuse. It can talk about dependencies, codependencies. It's just toxic shit. But this is the shadow card here, underwriting the Queen of Cups. And the 2 other cards that have come out here are the 8 of Swords, like I said, and the Knight of Swords. In opening yourself up, you see the ways in which you have been limited before. And I see you leaving those behind. The ways that you've been limited were like subconscious fears that you didn't even realise that you had, restrictions. Maybe it's a bit of those, you know, white noise statements. I can't do this, you know, I can't do that. I'm not very good at this, you know, all those sort of things. You know, they're words, but do they really fucking mean anything? Not especially, you know. Old things that you may have found yourself being restricted by, like old patterns of behaviour, old modes of thinking, for sure. Perhaps, you know, the echo of a parent and their disapproval in your galactic thinking, you know, something like that. Shades and echoes of that are being sloughed off. They're being left by the wayside because you're moving forwards with something much clearer in your own mind. There's a certain amount of heart leading here too, Aquarius, which is not something that I would be thought I'd be talking about for you, at least. Let's have a look. What's the message? Yeah, we've got the Hermit and the Hanged Man at the bottom of the deck. The Hermit is here. You have gone within. You have found answers to things. The number of Aquarians who commented on the November video and said, I understand this, or I've been waiting for this my entire life, right? This is what I've been preparing for. These people, oh shit, yeah. The Hermit's out twice. You've gone within, you've found answers, you are preparing, and your message is different to what it would have been this time last year, because you've unlocked something inside of yourself. Aquarius, this is fascinating. I'm really, really interested in this. So what I'm going to do, if this has resonated with you at all, there is an extended, it'll be down in the description box, the link to it down there. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now and pull this apart a little bit, because I am intrigued, but I like the way that it, well, all of my readings do, they follow on from one another, like it's the same group of people that I'm reading for. I don't know what you're planning, but I'm kind of glad you're doing it, Aquarius, if I'm honest. I take some degree of comfort from the fact that you are on the ball here, because I think that we'll need it moving forwards. So, like I said, I shall leave it there. I hope that you found something here for you. If you want to come over to Vimeo, that's cool. If not, that's also cool. And the next time I will see you will be for the December mid-months. All right, take care.